Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific, I am dedicated to bringing you the best sales meeting in the mortgage industry. And that is actually pretty easy when I have Cindy Ertman with me. What's up, Cindy?
Hey Dave, how are you?
It's good. It's not every day people get to open up with a weekly sales meeting with someone of your caliber. So, Cindy,
Oh, thank
thank
you, Dave.
you. Well, it's true. For anybody that didn't watch the first interview, or not first, I've interviewed Cindy a number of times, but the interview earlier this month, this is a part two. We're going to do a review on that. Before I jump into that review, I wanted to just remind some folks around some things that are in our Facebook mastermind group. So first of all, if you're on this call or you're listening to this recording, a companion to all of our content is our Facebook mastermind group. So it's a private group. It's called Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind. And the folks that are engaged and connecting with each other, I mean, it's the best of the best. So get into that group. I do want to showcase right now this week, I am literally within days of publishing what I'm calling the Mortgage Coach Lead Conversion Playbook. And so I have taken a number of the scripts from Scriptspalooza, plus some interviews that I've done. By the way, one of the interviews, Cindy, I put in there was from Stu Sweet from your team. Yeah. And I put together what I thought are three key concepts that if you want to optimize conversion, there's three key concepts. There's 7 core strategies. And then I just transcribed the scripts and I put the scripts below. So it's a long read. I mean, it's like a 30-minute read. It's like a little mini book. But I just didn't feel like I could cut anything out and not deliver the value. So keep an eye in LinkedIn for that. That'll be posted maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And then also, if you go into the mastermind group, there's a Word document. So I actually asked you guys a question: what is your favorite script? So feel free to check that out in the mastermind. So Cindy, let's get into the content at hand. Earlier in the month, we talked about how you meet and show up with your first realtor meeting. Let's do a little bit of a review on that for like 10, no longer than 15 minutes. And then this call is really, okay, we've had the first meeting, you've connected with them emotionally, you've learned what's important to them, and now you're having the second meeting. So let's make sure we leave 30, 40 minutes for that. So let's do a review. I will actually pull up your slides if you could confirm that you can see them.
I can, absolutely.
Okay. So let's just go through, give us 1 minute on each slide. And then remember, folks, the interview to this is in our YouTube channel. So look under the Tuesday interview playlist, and the interview to this entire, 1 hour interview is available. But give us a review if you could.
Well, Dave, I mean, obviously doing this for nearly 30 years, I think one of my special gifts really is around connection. And so I really worked a lot of different strategies over the years as to how to really build referral partnerships in a meaningful way in kind of half the time, because we know that relationships take time to develop. But relationships are really about true connection, not just, we're great mortgage professionals and we have great products, programs and service. We all have our own unique and special gifts. But what I really began playing with was really making those meetings keenly about the referral partner, and really not that first meeting at all about what I had or what I could do for them or how I could support them. It was really about getting to know who they are as human beings. So I really, the training that we did prior was really a series of questions that I established where when I would go into those meetings, so it's really first of all, it makes the meeting really simple, because a lot of my coaching clients will say, I'm not really sure what to say in the meeting. And I'm certainly not clear as to how to get a follow-up meeting or what do I do after I meet with them so that I can keep the relationship, moving forward. So I do highly recommend people go back and listen to this. In a couple of minutes, we'll throw a slide up that will give you a text in if you want to get the entire training on this, so you can actually have the questions that I ask realtors. But the simple kind of overview is to just start by asking questions about the history of their business. And I do it in chronological order. So I start at the beginning of their career and I just simply ask them, how long have you been in the real estate industry? And we know that most people didn't like go to college to become a realtor, just like most people don't go to college to become a mortgage originator. So I love to ask them about their story of how they made the transition into real estate, what led them into real estate, how difficult was the transition, how long did it take them to really make an impact in the marketplace. I just get curious about them as human beings and sort of their business flow, if you will, since they've gotten into the real estate industry. And then I ask them about their challenges. So my first line of questioning is all about their time in the real estate industry. And obviously, some of the follow-up questions are organic based on what they share with me clearly. But if they ask me questions, I answer the questions and I immediately return the focus back to them. And then once I've sort of exhausted their whole business history, and I do it, like I said, in kind of a chronological order, then I really, I thank them for, sharing so much about the business. And then I go into asking them, I said, I'd love to get to know a little bit about you personally. Where were you born and raised? And then I kind of go through a line of questioning to really learn more about them as human beings. And I start again chronologically because that makes it easy. I don't have to really think about it. Like I kind of know my strategy going in. But the beautiful thing about this, yes, it's a strategy, but what happens is a very organic connection when I'm in these meetings with potential referral partners, because they've shared a lot about their business life and some of their challenges, some of their goals. And now I'm asking them about their personal life and, where they grew up and, did they move here recently? I mean, I ask all kinds of questions chronologically. I ask about their family, about their children, their spouse. And I just try to get to know them as human beings. And what happens in these meetings, naturally, one, they're far more satisfying and fulfilling for me because I'm genuinely getting to know someone that I potentially can do business with. And, sometimes in these meetings, you might find based on the interaction you're having that you may not want to work with these people. I mean, I have a big thing about I only want to work with people that I have aligned values with. So I don't want to work with everybody. And we know when we start out in this business, I mean, let's face it, kind of have to work with whoever you can get your hands on. But as we begin to evolve and grow, then it's about who do we really feel aligned with? Who can we create value for? And who can we be in partnership with? So the reason I love this strategy of developing relationship is we really get to see what these people are about based on how they answer the questions and how they open up and how they lean in. So for me, this has been a strategy that has created really massive results in building relationship far more quickly than I had been able to build relationship in the past. And I feel like I'm really getting to know these people on a deep and meaningful level. So by the time I get to the end of the meeting, I know that I'm going to ask for the second meeting before I leave the first meeting. That's the goal. I always go into a meeting with a purpose. So I really recommend that you go into a meeting with a plan. And to get their buy-in, I don't have them schedule the meeting with me, Dave, like in the first meeting, but I do get their commitment to a second meeting, or that's my goal, before we leave the first meeting. And I would say I'm about 90% effective at that.
Good. So folks, just as a reminder, I put up the YouTube channel. Hopefully you subscribe to this. It's the second video. By the time this one's posted, it will be the third, where it's meaningful, long-lasting relationships with realtors by Cindy. Check it out. If you're watching this if you're watching the recording of this, I'll put a link down below. So there will be, you're watching this on YouTube, there's a description area below. There'll be a link to that video. Also, highly recommend last week's interview with Danny Harani, How to Win with Rate Shoppers. This was also a video that, in the scripting within this video, was added to the article I talked about earlier. Mortgage Coach, Lead Conversion Playbook. So Cindy, let's do this. I want to make sure folks know how to get some of the call to action that you provided, because I mean it was valuable, and I've even had a lot of folks that took action on this. They said, "Hey, the video was great, but some of the content you said afterwards was incredible." So if you could tell everybody how they could get the same stuff from last time, and then anything that would be valuable for today's conversation.
Dave, why don't you go to the next slide, which is actually the text-in number, and that would give them the entire download. And as I shared with your community, I'm not somebody, if you sign up for this, you're going to get a million emails. It's not how I really just want you to get the training guide. So you're not going to get a bunch of barrage with emails. This is really about just a way to get the guide in its total format. And it'll walk you through exactly how to do this and the questions to ask. So I think it just takes the guesswork out of it, and it'll make those meetings much easier. So if you just text in to the number 314-720-6011, and in your text box at the bottom, type in the word success, and then it will prompt you. The next slide will show it. It'll prompt you to put in your email address. The only thing, it'll ask you for your name first, and then it'll ask for your email. The only thing I suggest is that you might want to use a personal email. That's up to you. But sometimes as we know in the mortgage industry, spam filters are very, very high. So sometimes attached documents don't get through. If you put in your work email, just make sure you check your spam folder if in fact it doesn't come through for you.
Beautiful. So if you're watching this on a video, I'll also put the direction down below. So again, it's really simple. All you gotta do is text success 314-720-6011, and you're gonna get a tremendous amount of value from Cindy. And hey, just being on her list is a gift. So check it out. And I can't recommend enough her program, but we can talk about that towards the end of today's call in more detail, unless there's anything you want to say about it now.
Well, just the 90-day Jumpstart to Mortgage Success is a 3-month coaching program. I'm launching June 19th. I am offering a discount code for the mortgage community. This is my first time doing this particular training. I usually do very high-end coaching and training programs. So I wanted to reach more people and be able to help people really jumpstart their business. So it's going to be a great program. There are live calls with me. We'll have a membership site. We'll have a community. I really want to bring massive value to people in 90 days so they can take advantage of the end of the year to really jumpstart their business and give people tools and strategies that will last a lifetime, not just 90 days. So if you go to 90-day Jumpstart to mortgagesuccess.com, if you go to checkout, this is going to be a program in the fall I'm going to launch for $1,897. I am now offering it to the mortgage coach community for $797. Or you can do 2 payments of $447. So if there is a discount code that you have to type in after you enter your credit card information that says 90-day 100, and that'll take the price down by $100. So I'd love to have some of the mortgage coach community join us. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
Right on. Well, thank you very much, Cindy. I highly recommend that program. So, Cindy, I'm going to see you in person next week. Can you believe Mastermind is coming up?
Here, Mastermind.
Yeah, right. So, also, if anybody is going to be at that event, make sure you come out and say hi to Cindy and I. Again, we love to mastermind. We love to connect in person. If you have ideas that make Mortgage Coach better, I want to hear them. If you have someone you'd like me to interview, hey, if you're someone that you think I should interview, come up and say hi. And if nothing else, just come up and give me knuckles and say, "What's up, Dave?" I would love to see you at Mastermind. So let's transition the conversation. We did pretty good. We're 15 minutes into this. We gave them a nice review. They know how to connect with you afterwards. I want to break down that second meeting. It's like, okay, you met, you understand them from a business perspective, you've connected at a personal perspective. I want to know, you didn't confirm the meeting, but you told them you would. Are you sending the email and saying, I want this next meeting? Is your production partner doing that?
I actually send the email myself because my second meetings, Dave, I actually use marketing as sort of my hook. Now, granted, I have some gifts around marketing, but the thing that's great is I can train anybody to do this. This is not, you don't have to be a marketing expert to use marketing as a way to gain the second meeting. So usually what I do when I'm ending the first meeting, I will say to them, hey, one of the value adds that I love to bring to our referral partners is to really kind of do a deep dive around their marketing plan. And I would love, if you're interested, because I find this to be huge value add to our referral partners. I'd love to get together with you over, in the next week or two and spend 30 minutes and really try to, help you build your marketing plan and be able to help you take your business to the next level. I've got some ideas and strategies around how I've helped other realtor partners take their business to the next level. And I'd love to just do a short meeting over a cup of coffee if you're interested. What do you say? They usually, because you're face to face, they usually just say that would be great. That's it's just really that simple. It's kind of hard for them to say, no, I have no interest when you've just spent, an hour and a half with them kind of getting to know them. And now I'm offering an additional value add to them. So like I said, at least 90% of the time, right on the spot, they'll say, yeah, absolutely, that would be great. And I'll say, great, I'll reach out to you and let's get a time scheduled. And so by the next day, I send them a follow-up email and just say, hey, these are the times available that I have for our marketing meeting. I'm looking forward to it. I think you're going to get great value out of this 30 minutes. So that's how I do it.
Beautiful. Got it. So email goes out the next day. You set expectations. By the way, if you're listening to Cindy and you're not getting a 90% conversion to the second meeting, you're doing something wrong in the first meeting. You're either not connecting, you're not setting the right expectations. I've interviewed enough top producers to know that they do get the second meeting the majority of the time. Or you're targeting the wrong people. Could be a lot of things, but you just know that best of breed top producers are getting that second meeting the majority of the times. So let's do the next meeting. Is it in your office? Is it in their office? Is it in a coffee shop?
I always give them the option, but I usually do it at a coffee shop, the second meeting. Okay. And I really do that first meeting. When I'm doing the first meeting, I don't set a time frame typically for that. The first meeting, I do try to get lunch. I try to get lunch because I literally want to go deep on my line of questioning and I need more time. A lot of those meetings, Dave, actually run 90 minutes to 2 hours because they sort of unfold organically is what I've experienced. Meeting number 2 now, I want it to be very time specific. I don't want to waste their time. I want to have a 30-minute meeting. We're kind of in, we're out. I have a line of questioning. I ask them, and then I do some follow-up after the meeting, which I'll get in and share in just a minute. So those meetings are, if they want to do it at their office, clearly, but usually they're midday, cup of coffee, and we're just going deep for 30 minutes on me asking questions around their current marketing, and I can get into specifically what some of the questions are that I ask.
Beautiful. I did want to put a caveat in there, especially for you new loan officers. You kind of heard Cindy say, hey, let's have another meeting and I'll help you take your business to the next level. That she could do that because she is a marketing guru. She has a wealth of experience and she can make a generic promise like that and get folks. But like if you're a new loan officer, hopefully you have zeroed in on some very specific things that realtor wants to improve. Like they want to improve conversion. They want to get more leads at open houses. They want to do something that you can solve. So, especially if you're new, you're not possibly going to be able to make the big generic promise. And you're going to have to be very specific, like come meet with me and I'll drill down on X and Y. And X and Y is exactly what they need because that's what they told you in their interview. So I just wanted to put that caveat out there. So Cindy, let's talk about your second meeting now. What is the flow of that? What are the questions? I know you mentioned that's when you get into, mortgage coach and how that's a part of your value prop. Walk us through, the questions, the checklist, and the things that you cover consistently.
So what I do, and I'll actually give you specifically some of the questions that I ask here. So typically when I sit down, the first thing that I do is I just simply ask them, what are you doing to market your business right now? And I just let them talk. I just have them, kind of give me the lay of the land as to what they're doing currently in their business. And it's all over the map depending upon the realtor. So that kind of kicks off the first question. And then I ask them based on what they've told me, like what's working for you that you're doing right now and what's not working? Like where are you getting traction? Because we all know we try different things. Realtors is the same way. And they may not be getting traction on, they may be marketing to a farm and they're not getting traction around that. And then what's not working is always kind of interesting to me. And sometimes I'll ask additional questions around, what's not working, like what have they done? Because maybe I'll have a different suggestion about how what's not working could work if they tried a different approach. I ask, are there other ways that you'd like to market your business that you have not yet implemented? So I think this is a great question for mortgage originators too. What do you know that you should do? Like I was training a couple of mortgage originators last week, and one of the originators is new. He's only about 2 years in the business, and he's not using video. And the senior loan officer that he's working with is now on BombBomb Video, and puts that with his mortgage coach, his TCA. And so I said to the junior LO, I said, well, why are you not doing video? And he goes, well, I don't know, I'm pretty new. And I said, but what a great opportunity. So on Friday, it was cool. He sent me a text of his first video that he had done. But it's the same with your referral partners. A lot of them, what are you not doing that maybe you should be doing? So one of the next things, I ask them if they're using video in their marketing, because a lot of people aren't. And when we look at the average age of a realtor of about 55 years of age, a lot of people are still very nervous about video. And it's a place that you can help create impact in a realtor's business by making some suggestions around how they could integrate video into their own marketplace. So that's one question that I ask. I do ask if they're using a database management system or a CRM system, because I find only about 50% of realtors do. Mortgage originators are much better at using database management systems. But if they say no, I'm not, or I have one at the office, but I really don't use it, I really ask them why not. And I tell them the benefits of what it's done for me in my own business, and that I think it's the number one thing that I did to take my business to the next level, is to stay consistently in contact with my prior clients and my referral partners. I do share a couple of stories about clients that have come back to me, borrowers that have come back. That one guy that didn't buy a $2 million house with his past agent because he said he hadn't heard from her in 5 years. So I speak to the importance of a database management system. If they have one, I ask questions around how often they communicate with their past clients, what kind of information do they share, are they consistent with their communication, is it strictly through email, do they call them, do they text them, what's the level of communication. So all I'm doing initially in this meeting, which is why anybody can do this, Dave, is I'm asking questions once again and exploring what they're doing currently that's working and what's not. I also ask if they're using social media in their business. And it's interesting because a lot of people have like a Facebook account, or they're on LinkedIn, or, they've got Instagram, but a lot of people don't use it, or they're not using it really for their business. And so I'll give them suggestions around the ways that they could use social media to enhance their business. And I give a lot of strategies to mortgage originators too, because I have a lot of people that will say to me, well, I'm not comfortable sharing, my personal life to business people. I get that a lot from realtors. And I said, why not? And I give them ideas about ways that they can implement some of their personal life in a way where it allows their clients to get to know them, their community to get to know them in a deeper level. And, I may offer suggestions because I do track people. So as originators, you might want to look at your Facebook account and pick out the top 10 people in your marketplace and really follow them around on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you see their presence, and start to pay attention how they're communicating. Another great idea, Dave, because this is part of what I do, but a lot of people don't think about this. Go to their website before you go to this meeting. This is always a really interesting exercise for me. Go to the realtor's website and take a look at the website. I cannot tell you how many times the information on that realtor's website is either inaccurate, extremely dated. This last meeting I did with a top realtor, she had her old partnership information on her website, and she was no longer in a partnership. So I was kind of confused. But it's interesting because they like the fact that you've done some research and some homework on them. Like some will have videos, and I'll watch the video and I'll make comments about their video, maybe give them some suggestions as to what they could put on their website. Is there a link to reviews? Do they have a link so that people can leave a review for them? Some realtors don't even have a place for their clients to leave reviews. So that can be a great, just a great opportunity to ask them, who leaves, where do people go for reviews? Are they using Yelp? Are they using Zillow? Are they using Google? So it's just kind of an exploration call initially. And then basically I will ask them where the majority of their leads are coming from. And I ask how many of their leads are actually from past clients, or, I do a lot of questions around lead generation and where most of their leads are coming from. I ask, if they're asking for referrals from their past clients, and if they're asking for testimonials. Again, I ask them about the platform that they're utilizing for that. And I ask about their goals. I ask if they have established clear goals on how they want to build and grow their business. one of my coaching clients is Michael Harrington, and Michael does the way he gets the meeting with the realtor is, instead of doing a marketing meeting, he actually schedules a meeting around helping them, establish their goals for the year. And every quarter he does a goal planning meeting with his realtor partners, which is very valuable. And he's kind of become an accountability partner for them so that they actually execute on their goals. And I think that's a great strategy. And he's had massive success with that. And he becomes a really big partner to these teams, which I think is really incredible. So one of the other things that I've done, and this is something that anybody can do, it takes a little bit of time, but it's been really valuable, is I put together, and I only have one copy, I don't give this away to the realtor, but I put together many years ago what I call the Realtor's Edge. And it's really just kind of a marketing playbook. And candidly, I just went to Google and typed in, best marketing strategies for realtors, best database management systems for realtors, best closing gifts, client closing gifts, for realtors to give to their clients. I just kind of went through a transaction and thought, what kind of marketing help and support would a realtor need? Maybe they want to send newsletters, best real estate newsletters. And I just started coming up with these resources that I put together in a guide. So when I go to meet with these realtors, I actually take my little, realtor, edge book with me, and I sit it on the table. And so if they talk to me and they say, well, I don't use a database management system, I'll kind of flip to my database management. And I said, well, here's some ideas of database management systems that might work for you. Some of my other, realtor partners use these systems. So again, it's not so much that I'm the expert in these systems. I'm just a resource and create value for them and help them think. We all need reminders. We all know what to do mostly, but we need reminders. And so for us to create value for our referral partners and be that reminder for how they could market their business in a more meaningful way, it's a huge value add. And, sometimes I'll say, look, hey, if you're interested, I only have this one book, but if you like, and I've taken notes when I'm in the meeting, if there's certain things that they need, like they don't have a database management system or they're not really using, Facebook Live, and I give them some suggestions for how they could do that. I'll say, if you'd like, I've got some links I could send you when I get back to the office that will kind of give you some how to do some of these things, and I can make some suggestions if you would find that helpful. And of course, they always say yes. So it's just about creating another layer of value. And even junior LOs can do this. You don't have to be the expert. You're just becoming a resource for them. And that sometimes takes a little bit of, Google research, but it's actually really simple, Dave. I want people to really understand that. Like, anybody can do this at any level.
Love it. So everyone, first of all, I want to remind everyone that we're going to have time to ask Cindy questions. So if you have a question for Cindy, post it in our GoToWebinar control panel right now. And by the way, if you're watching the recording and you have a question for myself or Cindy, post it down below, either in the YouTube chat or in Facebook, whatever channel you're watching this. Let us know if you have questions. So Cindy, let us, when do you bring Mortgage Coach into that conversation, and what is the context and the position you use when you bring in the TCA?
Well, I go through my line of questionings first. That's always what I do, just because I'm trying to kind of unpack what their current marketing strategy is and their marketing game plans. Some have game plans, some don't really have game plans. And then I talk about what Stephanie and I do in our own business. I talk about what my team has done over the course of the last 30 years and how we've grown and evolved. And I talk about video using BombBomb. We talk about Mortgage Coach, and Mortgage Coach has been a very powerful tool for my team really since the beginning of Mortgage Coach. Dave, you and I became friends many years ago through a mortgage conference, and I've always really admired the value that you bring to our community. And I think I've been so wowed and impressed with what you've done, on Facebook and LinkedIn. And it's crazy for people not to participate in that. The value that's coming through from Mortgage Coach is so incredible. The total cost analysis to have a really visually pleasing, graphical format to be able to present to a client and walk them through, whether you use video, whether you don't use video. It's such a powerful tool to be able to present, and to your referral partners as well. It totally sets you apart. Every time Stephanie and I meet, with a financial planner, this is like the number one tool we bring in to show them what we do, because it speaks their language. To be able to share with clients, if you put a little bit more down or you change the term of the loan, what that does to the impact. It's profound, and people it's like a wow. It is an absolute wow differentiator. So to share that with your referral partners is part of our marketing efforts and part of our value add to their clients. Massive impact, absolutely massive.
So a couple thoughts, and I'm showing it on the screen right now. This is one of Cindy's total cost analysis from her team. Stephanie sent it over. By the way, I need to do an interview with Stephanie, so
we will
make sure
get
you.
Stephanie on a call. She is a
All right.
mortgage coach fanatic.
Yeah, she does this for every family. But I think it's important to note, the two best ways to position mortgage coach within the context so it's valuable to the agent are, and it depends on what they've told you their problems are, what their pain is, what their priorities are. One of the most common ones I heard from Jeremy Forcier is that the realtor talks about how important communication is. So when you show the total cost analysis, you're saying, hey, let me show you how I communicate options to the family and how I keep you in the loop and everybody, the family who's buying a home, I keep everybody in the loop so that I'm more effective at communicating. So sometimes, and often that is the context in which the total cost analysis is. It's not, oh, let me show you my cool technology with graphs and charts. It's no, let me show you how I show up and communicate in a way that's more effective than any of my peers, than any other loan officers. So that's a good one. The other one I'm hearing a lot in today's market, Cindy, and you're probably intuitively doing this, is, right now in today's market, it's low inventory, and getting the offer accepted is the biggest pain point for the realtor.
Huge.
And so I'm hearing a lot of mortgage coach loan officers say, hey, let me show you how I create clarity and confidence with your home buyers so that they are willing to pay the price needed to get the home accepted. So you're really showing mortgage coach and the total cost analysis as a urgency creating tool. Like other loan officers aren't, they're borrowers. They don't want to pay too much. They end up not getting the house they want because they're not confident and they're not clear. Let me show you how I create clarity and confidence, how my team creates clarity and confidence with every borrower you give us. So,
well, Dave, one of the things that really struck me was when Michelle Town talked about the cost of waiting. I think people need to go back and actually really look at that, because to me, that was very powerful. And to be able to use the total cost analysis to say, you know what, because I'm of the firm belief, and based on everything I'm reading and studying about our marketplace, is that there is a very high probability that by the end of the year, rates are going to be up another 0.5% and property values are escalating as well. So to be able to show them what could happen if rates go up another 0.5%, when we talk about how do we convert more people, we've got to create that sense of urgency and educate our clients on the benefit of buying now. It's a big deal, because even in our market and most markets where people are having to go over list price potentially to secure a property, and to really show them what the difference is of the payment, if you go up 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, some cases 100 grand, but what that really means to secure a property at today's interest rates versus if they go up another 0.5%. So to really get clear on the cost of waiting and selling that proposition through total cost analysis to your borrower to get them to convert now, you can create a massive sense of urgency using total cost analysis.
So what I have on the screen is a purchase options total cost analysis. I'll see if Stephanie can get me a rent versus own, so you can see how you can create urgency with a first-time home buyer, and then also just a cost of waiting analysis. So I'll see what we get some more options. So if you're watching this on a recording, look down below, and we'll show you how to create urgency, so that as a mortgage coach, you're not just a loan officer. You're not just a loan officer that creates marketing. You're a loan officer that makes every lead more valuable. You're a loan officer that creates a sense of urgency, and you use tech to do it, which most realtors, and Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong here, they appreciate it, the fact that you're very high touch. Like, you don't even have to tell people how high your emotional IQ is and how much people mean to you, because that's how you show up. But then when you use technology to deliver a more efficient experience, they're probably, I would just imagine they see value in kind of your high touch, high tech way of doing things.
But like the thing is, so if you present this at that marketing meeting as an example, and you hand them a folder with some great ideas, tips, and tools, and a total cost analysis, the beauty is that you don't have to be a marketing expert, but you look like a marketing expert based on what you just provided to them. If they physically see a total cost analysis and what you're providing to the borrower, it's so huge because it elevates you immediately to another level. So they see you as an expert, even if you're not, and, it's interesting to me, Dave, because I think even if it's not marketing, you may have another, really unique gift. Yours may be the financial markets and what drives the market. You may have great insight around that. You may be amazing at guidelines and being able to, get people into homes that normally, couldn't get into a home 6 months ago because you found a new and creative way through a new product or program that can get more people into a home. But using your own unique gifts. But for those that may feel like they're not really sure what that is, using the marketing strategy and then pulling in, obviously, Mortgage Coach is a huge, huge advantage. And it really does elevate you. That's why I love it as a tool, because it immediately sets you apart. And the key is we don't want to fit in. We want to stand out. And what can we do in today's world to stand out in the crowd? And obviously, Mortgage Coach is a huge way to do that as part of the integration.
So what I did just now is on the screen, I am showing you a couple bullet points from the LinkedIn article that I'm going to release any day now. And I had mentioned there's three core concepts. And by the way, when you just listen to Cindy, she embodies these. She uses technology because, I think Cindy and I both agree, technology isn't going to replace loan officers, but loan officers who use technology will replace those that don't. And that means you need to use your CRM, your POS, and basically that's your front end app. I think Cindy at your company uses Blend. A lot of our clients use Simple Nexus. Whatever that technology is, you're using that point of sale experience. And again, you're not bragging about the tech. You're bragging about how efficient, how effective you are at communicating, delivering transaction commitments, and then you're delivering mortgage codes. So technology matters, and it's clear that Cindy and her team kill it at this. This is the other thing I said. Hey, if you want to make your business Amazon proof, you need to double down on humanity. You need to boost your empathy. That's why on our Friday call the past 2 weeks, I have focused on emotional intelligence and what every loan officer could do to raise your emotional intelligence, get more clear around it. But that means you need to improve your empathy, your interpersonal communication, and your advice experience. So again, you just listen to Cindy. She's killing it at this. And then my third key concept, and again, I didn't make this stuff up. I interviewed Cindy, I interviewed Jeremy, I interviewed Danny, I interviewed hundreds of the nation's best loan officers, and this is how they're rolling. I think in this business, you've always been like the loan officer with the most friends wins. And today, I think you just need to put digital in front of that. The loan officer with the most digital friends wins. That means realtors and borrowers that have downloaded your apps, that connect with you on social, that you engage with on social, that you have a multi-channel relationship with. Those are the three keys. And then Cindy, I just want to cover a couple of the core strategies that I think are on point for what we're doing today. Is you notice that when it comes to core conversion, like when I interview the loan officers that have the best conversion, what they do when they meet with that borrower matters. How fast they respond. Do they deliver a total cost analysis? Do they have a lot of reviews from past clients saying they're great? But it starts with, did you educate and train your realtors so that they understand your value prop, so that when they refer you, they're coming from a bigger place? And two, they're trained on exactly how to position you so that by the time that borrower comes to you, it's like Cindy has a massive advantage. So I would like you to speak to that, Cindy, just like, because it sounds like in the second meeting, and maybe it's the third meeting, you are doing some of that, training them how to refer you. If you could speak to that.
I think it's a big deal. And I think most mortgage originators leave that part of the equation out. And actually, that came to me years ago when key people that I really liked, I mean, realtor partners that I'd kind of become friends with, but I wasn't getting leads from them. They really weren't referring me in a meaningful way. And I started just asking questions of them directly as to why. And I've never forgotten that a top realtor here in Manhattan Beach, over a cup of coffee one day, he said, Cindy, he said, I don't like being pushy with my clients. And most of them come to me and have already been pre-qualified with their own lender. And I just don't really like to push a lender on them. And I said, well, I'm not asking you to push me, but I am asking for the opportunity. And so I remember putting together, I haven't used this personally because I'm not on the front line right now today, but I remember writing a script for Jeremy to just, let him know how he could refer me in a way that felt comfortable for him. And so, what I've always done is train my realtor partners to ask their clients to give me 5 minutes. That's all I needed. Hey, I know that you're pre-qualified, with your bank, but would you do me a favor? I've been working with Cindy Ertman for a lot of years. I trust her implacably. Would you give her 5 minutes of your time? At the very least, you'll get an alternative offer. You'll know what's out in the marketplace, and she won't bug you, but will you give her 5 minutes? So I've just trained them really simply to give me 5 minutes. And typically the way they would do that is they would send an email to me. They would CC the client. They'd say, hey, would love you to have a 5-minute conversation with Cindy or her team. And she'd love to be able to let you know what they could do for you. And so that 5 minutes was a really valuable deal because, we got very, very good at converting people in that 5 minutes, but we just need the opportunity. So sometimes just really training our realtor partners is huge. And to your point on the value, on that call that I did for you, Dave, 7 steps to 7-figure mortgage success, there's a download with that. You can also, if you get it, it's a free resource on my website at cindyrtman.com. Discover your why and greatest strengths. If you go to my resource section, it's a free download. You can go to my site and pull it off there as well, or it's on the interview. And getting clear about what your greatest strengths are is half the part of being able to communicate that and your value to your referral partners. It's a key part of building a successful business is to be clear what your value proposition is and be able to convey it clearly, and that'll walk you through how to do that.
Okay, so a couple things. One, I'm going to put a link to that down below too. So link to learn more from Cindy, phone number to get phone number with success to get her information, link to the last interview that we did, which is part 1, and now we're going to also add a link to that. I do want to go through a couple of these other items, and then I also want to make sure some really good questions have come in. I want to make sure we cover those. But I just want to review this, guys. The key to conversion, the key to wowing your realtors is, first of all, make sure they're trained. By the way, when I interviewed Danny Harani, he talked about how he trains his realtors, what some of the scripting for that. Number 3 on the list is that when you have that client interview, you're letting that client know that, hey, not only am I going to help you with this transaction, make a great decision, keep all my promises, but I'm going to manage your mortgage over time. And by the way, the Tim Brahim script that I did a couple weeks ago, Tim just killed it with this. So when this comes out in a couple days, if you click that link, you can listen to the Tim Brahim interview and hear how he used Mortgage Coach to actually, here's how I help you make a great decision. Here's how I keep that a great decision. So check out that, huge and important. I think we've covered the fact that a total cost analysis is a huge value. I didn't cover it today, but I just can't emphasize enough. When I am interviewing the best of the best, they have a lot of 5-star reviews. They deliver 5-star experiences, and they have evidence of that online. Social Survey is a great resource. There are a lot of other reputation management solutions out there. It just seems like a lot of Mortgage Coach clients are using Social Survey, but make sure you've got online evidence of the success that you deliver. Make sure that you're delivering an annual review, so that you can bring leads back to your agents and that you can make that promise to the agent that not only am I going to do an incredible transaction, but I'm going to turn that borrower into residual income for you and for me. And let me show you how I do that. And so I think annual reviews are part of the 7 steps to optimize conversion. And then, like I said, this is a 30-minute read, so it really is like a book. But so not only do we set up those playbooks, but then we give you all kinds of scripts. So check that out. Cindy, anything you want to add to that before I go to the audience for some questions?
Well, you just skipped over on the annual review what that means to the realtor, but I don't want that to just like get like glossed over, because most realtors are not great about staying in touch with the client. And so for you to actually, I think, drill deep with Realtor Partners as to what a huge value add that is for them, that you do communicate consistently with your client base. You're doing an annual review. You're sending emails to them, twice a month or whatever your plan is. But I mean, the reality is you're creating an opportunity for that realtor, for the life of the loan. And I know this firsthand because I've been doing this for so long. Most originators do this much better than realtors. And it's such a huge value proposition to let them know that you're going to stay in front of that borrower for a lifetime so that you can manage their mortgage. And, when the time is right and you feel, it's time for them to buy a new home or whatever, you're going to put them right back in that realtor's court. It's a massive value proposition that frequently gets overlooked.
Yeah, and let's face it, we as originators, everybody that's watching this, you're a referral-based local loan officer, and you're worried about competing against, Amazon Mortgage, Zillow Mortgage, internet, low-cost providers online. You need to do annual reviews. And let's face it, realtors are worried, and they should be, that they're competing with, all kinds of disruptive strategies. And so your greatest competitive advantage is the fact that you're local and you're a human being and you can connect with people. And so if you have a database, you have a digital friends. So if you connect with those digital friends every year, that is your best competitive advantage from being disrupted. So I kicked off the year and I wrote an article saying why annual reviews should be your absolute single number one priority for 2018 if you want to have a sustainable career in 2020 and beyond. And I believe that coming into the year. I only believe it 10 times more, as we're at mid-year mark. So it really is an important strategy. So Cindy, we've got some great questions that have come in. By the way, we might get to more, but I'm gonna pick a few that were also put on our Facebook group.
Okay.
And one of them I think is super on point. It has been asked a couple different ways during the call, and when Luke posted this on our Facebook group, he said, "I feel like I need to call my agents weekly, but sometimes I feel like I'm annoying them." I'm curious, how often do you call agents? And what do you say when you're making those is it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, different coaching programs say that, hey, you just call them every week. Stay top of mind, call them every week. And so how would you answer that? What is your rhythm? How often?
Well, I did the whole call them every week for a period of time. And for me personally, I felt like to some degree I lost traction because they stopped taking my calls. They stopped picking up. They recognized my number. And it was, every Tuesday I would make the calls. So for me, I went to every other week, and it just felt more appropriate for me personally. And I felt like, every 2 weeks felt reasonable. There was enough time frame. We're checking in to see, what they'd been up to. How's the market? I would always check to see if they had a new listing. Every time I go into a call of any sort, to just do hey, just touch and base, want to see how you're doing. How was your weekend? It's, that's all great, but I like having a purpose. So I really do think about, before I make calls to realtors, even today, about what is the purpose of this call. And I pay close attention, Dave. Facebook is such a great tool, or LinkedIn, because I pay close attention to news and information. Anything that I see that I think could be a value proposition for a realtor, I log as a marketing opportunity. So I might pick up I might call and just say, hey, look, I'm going to send over an article that I saw this weekend on Facebook that I thought would be really, really powerful. Like a perfect example, I did it just yesterday. In fact, Dave, it would be a good idea to post in your group. Mari Smith is doing a free training call. I think it's next Tuesday. And Mari Smith is a Facebook guru and a social media guru. Dave's interviewed her. Mari's a good friend of mine. And I thought this would be great value. So I dropped that link into my Mortgage Mastermind Elite group, and I sent it off to Realtor Partners. So I think it just there's so much information that we can share that we don't have to always be the guru. So we may have a new program or service. Like we had a couple of lenders come speak at our sales meeting a week ago, and there was some great value adds of loans that maybe we can now do that our realtor partners don't know are even available in today's market. So using that as a purpose for the call, using, a new bell and whistle for Mortgage Coach could be a great purpose for the call. Talking about how it's helping us convert, keeping people from waiting on the sidelines because people are scared because, how many times does a client say to us, well, I think, interest rates are going to go up, property values are sure to fall. I think I should wait. Maybe I should wait a couple of years. And I tell people, I just told my son to buy now. I wouldn't tell my son to buy now if I thought my client should wait. So, but I think having a purpose is a big deal. But I call every 2 weeks. And for me, that feels organic.
So let us know, how often are you calling? What are you saying? I just found in our Facebook group, and by the way, Luke, I love the way you asked this question. He just did a quick Facebook Live in our actual group and, did like a 2-minute ask on, how often are you calling realtors? And look at the community. There's a lot of chat on this. Dan Keller gave some great ideas. Emmett provided some information. Rick Shear. By the way, we're talking, $100 million a year producers that are answering these questions. So first of all, if you're listening to this and you have something to add to this from Cindy, let us know how often you're calling, what are you doing, and if you just want to learn, check it out. My only ask is if you got value from it, give it a like and make sure you share this with others on your team. So that was a good one, Cindy. So let's go with another one that has come up a lot. And Chip also asked this question, and I know you win through education. And he said, I'm looking for lunch and learn opportunities. So what are some of the best lunch and learns that you're doing with realtors? Maybe just rift some topics. Also, it would be great to, I think we have a chat going in our Facebook group on this. So if you have topics, let's get a big old long list and share that with the Mortgage Coach community. So what are you doing for lunch and learns?
Well, the next one we're doing, which honestly we haven't done in a really long time, is we're going back to doing a first-time homebuyer seminar, which I think will be great because, we're in a very high-end market here in Manhattan Beach, California, so we don't necessarily focus on first-time homebuyers. But my experience as of late in talking to people in the community is that a lot of people, and I'll use my son as an example, my son didn't know he could buy a home, and candidly, I didn't know my son could buy a home. And until we got him in to get him formally pre-qualified, and lo and behold, he could actually buy a house. And he was shocked by that. So we're going to target high-end renters in our community for a first-time home buyer seminar. So that's one that we're going to do as kind of a lunch and learn. We're doing that with another realtor, which is a great way to strengthen a partnership with a realtor, is to get together. We had a lunch already. We strategized ideas, how we're going to do it. Who's going to say what. So that's a great way to build a stronger relationship with a realtor partner. Some of the things that I've done on Lunch and Learns, I've done a lot of them. So I have a goal planning tool that I use with my coaching clients called Total Success Blueprint, but you could just do a goal planning session of 3 key business goals. And people love it. We go around the room, we have each person share one goal. I always kick it off and share a couple of key goals. But I've done business planning sessions and goal planning. I've done that at least 3 times with probably 15 realtors. And that's been super effective. We had one that we brought in a house stager because we're in a high-end area, and I brought in a home stager. Honestly, that was one of the most amazing lunch and learns we ever did. She got business out of it immediately. It gave people great ideas. It was a great show and tell. We got a lot of people into that arena. I brought in my financial planner, and I've done, get an update on the financial markets with my financial planner. I've done so many. Let's see what else.
So let's do this. You think of some more. I'm going to show on my screen. I just went to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, and within the channel, I went to search and I put in lunch, short for lunch and learn, and realized that one, we have a great interview that I did with the Gaylord Hanson team on this topic. They crushed it. And then it's funny, and by the way, Cindy, I even recommend you and your team check this out. Kristen Messerly, who's a leader in our community, just a great speaker, keynote leader. She actually gets brought in by a lot of companies to actually execute on their lunch and learns. And I did an interview with her. It's just a 25-minute interview on how she's doing first-time homebuyer events. And Cindy, the reason you might like this one is I remember it. Kristen also gave some slides that was some just great content. So if you want to do a first-time homebuyer lunch and learn for agents, make sure you check out the Kristen Messerly interview.
I will. That's awesome. Thank you, because we're planning it right now.
Yeah, and I think she even provided a link to her slide. So anyways, check that out. So let's close with one last question here. Let me stop sharing my screen. And I think a lot of loan officers are in this spot. You know, Maria Reinhardt asked this, and she said, I'm behind on my 2018 production goals. I need to adjust my numbers of daily leads and make sure I'm converting all of them. By the way, check out the conversion playbook. Half the year is gone, you know, a couple days from June. Any suggestions besides making more calls? So, by the way, Maria, I heard you. I will say you probably need to make more calls. I would love to know how many you're making, but more calls and more conversations will go a long way. But Cindy, what's your advice as a coach and a mentor to a lot of loan officers that can relate to that question?
Well, I think it's twofold, Dave. I mean, the more calls, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's a numbers game to some degree, but it's like, what are you actually accomplishing on those calls? And, you know, I talked to, I was doing an exploratory call, the guy on the East Coast a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he had met with 60 realtors. I think I mentioned on the last call in the last couple of months, but he really hadn't converted any of them. And you know, that was disturbing to me. But at the end of the day, it's because he's not going into those meetings with a plan. So I would highly recommend that you do go back and listen to the last interview on connection to conversion that I did with Dave. And really, as you're making those calls, trying to set those meetings and utilize that strategy to go deeper in relationship, because that's really what this is. And then obviously sharing with them your ability to help a borrower make a decision to act now. I would also suggest when you're talking to your leads to get really clear on taking the next, you know, it's a sales approach, but honestly to get them educated on why they need to act now. And for me, because I fully believe that we're going to see interest rates continue to elevate over the course of the next 6 months, and because I actually believe that in much of the country, property values are going to continue to escalate, certainly in our market, I feel very confident of that, that really, you know, educating our borrowers on why they need to take action now and using the total cost analysis is a big deal, because a lot of borrowers are just confused, and it makes logical sense for people to think that maybe they should wait for housing prices to drop. But in my entire career, you know, I mean, you can't time a market any more than you can time the stock market. And our job is to really educate our client base and educate our realtor partners on how we're going to educate their clients to be able to take action now. So more calls, deeper connection, follow-up strategies with some of the things that we talked about here today, and educating them on why, you know, why not to wait.
Love that. And I think you nailed it when you just said go deeper. You know, you need to go deeper with the right people. Now, I do want to make sure you're thinking about who are you meeting with, because if you're meeting with realtors and people that don't do a lot of business, you know, no matter how deep you go, no matter how great relationship you get, you are capped in terms of your lead flow and your opportunities. So I would kind of audit, who am I meeting with? Where am I spending my time meeting with agents? Make sure that the people around you, your referral partners, are doing enough volume to help you achieve your goals. Go deep and just improve the quality of how you're executing with folks. So everybody, this has been a great call. I want to remind everybody, if you want to get more information from Cindy and connect with her, it is success. Just text it, pull out your phone right now. Don't say I'm going to do this later. Do it now. 314-720-6011, success. And that will get you that training guide that she talked about. And then, you know, for anyone that just wants to get unstuck, I mean, I believe in Cindy Ertman. I mean, she delivers tremendous value. So if you are at that point and you feel like she's an essence match, you are not going to get a better deal than this 90-day Jumpstart program. So I will put a link down below, 90-day Jumpstart program. And with that said, I want to close with one last question for the audience. What did you think of today's call? Did we surpass your expectations with value? Did you get a few takeaways? If you're a guest to this call and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, click the last option. I'd like to get a demo of Mortgage Coach. Cindy, you killed it, and I'm grateful. Thank you for all the value you bring to Mortgage Coach and for the
Thanks,
program.
Dave. Back at you. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you at Mastermind next week.
Yep. All right. So I am going to take down that poll question. Cindy, you knocked it out of the park. People loved the call. So thank you very much. And this call is a wrap. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for all you do. Bye, guys.
Ciao.